Hi folks, and welcome back to Math with Captain Rod. The topic of this video here is the algebra of functions. It's a very exciting topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through several examples, starting with this one, where f of x is equal to x squared minus 25 and g of x is equal to x minus 5. And we're going to walk through how to find the sum of two functions, the difference of two functions, the product of two functions, the quotient of two functions. And during these examples, we will also talk about how to find the domain of all of these things. So, starting with example number 1 here. So we've got this function, x squared minus 25, called f, and a function called g equal to x minus 5. So, to find f plus g, well, you find that exactly the way you probably think you would. You just add these functions together. So we're going to add this function to this function. Now, in this example, parentheses really aren't necessary, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in anyway to show, all right, here's my f of x plus here's my g of x. And particularly when you have minus signs here, that the parentheses become really important. So we could actually simplify this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and x squared. Let's see, there's no x term here, but there's an x. And minus 25 plus a minus 5 is minus 30. So this is the addition of these two functions. Domain. There are no division by zeros here. There's no square roots, so this thing is defined everywhere. So the domain of this function is all real numbers. All right. F minus g. Now we're going to take this function, x squared minus 25, minus g of x. And I strongly recommend these parentheses. These are somewhat optional up here, but down here you're not going to, this one right here is not optional. And I'll explain why when I get to the relevant spot here. So now when we subtract this, we got x squared minus, there's no x squared term, so that one gets to stay. There's no x term here, right? So you can think of it as 0x minus x. And now we have negative 25 minus a minus 5. Now that's going to become negative 25 plus 5, so that's minus 20. All right, let's talk domain here. There's none of these, or division by zeros. Not happening there, so because there's none of that, the domain of this function is, again, all real numbers. All right, f times g. So f times g, just like you might think, that's going to be this function times this function. We could multiply this out, but I don't see any reason to. I'm just going to leave it just the way it is. Domain of this function, all right, as we look it over, there's no division by zeros and there's no radicals, so all real numbers. All right, f over g. So let's see, if we take f and we're dividing by g, that's going to be this function, x squared minus 25, divided by this function, x minus 5. All right, so this one can be simplified further because the top of this thing is equal to x minus 5, times x plus 5. That's the difference of two squares when you factor. And you'll notice here we've got an x minus 5 in the top and x minus 5 in the bottom. These are going to divide out. We're just left with x plus 5. All right, now let's talk about the domain. You have to honor every part of this equation here from here all the way to here. And sitting right here is a spot where we have potential for division by 0. If in the bottom here, if the bottom were equal to 0, this thing's not defined. And the value that does that would be x equals 5. So the domain of this function is all reals except 5. So I'll just put x can't equal 5, right? So I think what I'll do is just stop this video right here and make another one for example 2. Have a great day.